So, in summary to my final reflection, my name is Annie and my cultural background is Chinese American. My partner, Caesar, is an international student from Angola, and surprisingly, we have very similar personalities, even though our backgrounds are geographically very different. At first, I was really hesitant and nervous about meeting up and interacting together, simply because I never really connected with someone so culturally different than me at school. And what I mean by that is I've never hung out with someone one-on-one with an international student before that I previously knew nothing about the person. So I guess it was more just like pre-jitters before a blind date almost. I mean, even though it was nothing like a date, you know what I mean? Because again, I've never really met up with someone I didn't really know before. So I honestly didn't know what to expect. I remember during the first meetup, it was a bit awkward. I wasn't necessarily nervous or uncomfortable, but just shy. Caesar told me he was kind of nervous too because he knew I was depending on him for this assignment, so I think he just felt that I was probably expecting a lot from him. Luckily, it turns out we actually have a lot in common and even share the same major, so it was actually really easy to talk and make our conversations flow. Throughout our additional meetups, we became really comfortable towards each other and nothing seemed awkward or forced anymore. We learned a lot about each other's personalities and cultures. To be honest, before we even met, I never even knew the country of Angola even existed. I had never heard of it or had any prior knowledge, so getting the chance to interact with Caesar was very eye-opening and new to me. I learned a lot about his culture, such as the food, traditions, holidays, his education, his family, etc. I also told him a lot about what my family does and what my parents used to do back when they lived in China. We also shared some childhood memories together and how our parents used to raise us. During our interactions, I had a lot of emotions going on. I would say me and Caesar are both laid back and both pretty talkative, which worked well in both our favor. I would say he can be a bit more serious at times. I'm definitely more of the jokester. He says Americans are always laughing and joking around, which I thought was funny. Every time we got together, we learned something new about each other. For example, we went bowling for our activity meetup a few weeks ago. It was crazy to me because I've been bowling 100 times throughout my life, and Caesar was completely new to the game. I had to teach him how to play, which was educating for the both of us. I've honestly never met someone who's never been familiar with bowling, which was kind of weird, but Caesar said his culture plays a bunch of other games that I've never heard of either, so I guess it's just different. After bowling, I was really proud of myself for introducing him to a new sport, and we both had a really fun time. It's crazy to think how much we've learned about one another as well as each other's backgrounds and how our cultures are similar as well as totally different. At the end of each meetup and talking to Caesar, our conversations honestly humbled me and made me realize how each country really can be so different and believe in different things. For example, when he was telling me about his education experience back in Angola, things were really different compared to the education system here, and not in a good way. He would say teachers were manipulative and unfair to students that didn't have money. Many schools don't offer after-school activities such as sports and clubs. He also said there was no transportation system going to school, which I thought was crazy. I feel really thankful now how important America takes on education by providing a lot of opportunities with schools and students. It's pretty much required over here as opposed to back in Angola. It's not necessary if you do or don't want an education. It's fascinating to think how other countries have other priorities when it comes to big things like education, and I'm so thankful America offers many opportunities when it comes to building a career in education. I was telling Caesar about that, and he agreed completely, which is the whole reason why he came to study abroad here anyways. So here is a selfie of Caesar and I in the car. This was when we were on the way back from bowling at our last meetup. I'm so glad I got to hang out with Caesar and get to know him better. I've never had a type of project like this before, so I think it was a really cool experience. I've learned so much about both mine and his culture. It makes me think that not every country is the same, neither in a good or bad way. America and Angola are both separate countries, but their cultures make it unique in their own way. Getting to learn about Caesar's culture and his experience in America really opens your eyes and educates you about culture from a different perspective. I can honestly say I consider Caesar a close friend of mine now. Even though our backgrounds are completely different, I think our differences is what let us bond so easily.